Hey developers, welcome back to the episode. So I hope you have tried to complete the start game timer function. Now let's take a look at what we have done so far. So we have set up the click event listener on the start or reset button, and then we have managed to dynamically change the message of this. And then we have also initialized the preview timer for this. And then based on that, we have been flipping the card. All right. Now, the next step would be showing the game timer. And then if the game timer expires, then we need to display the message saying that, okay, game over. Do you want to start a new game or do you want to go back? All right. So this function basically handles that. So let's uncomment that and then function to handle the game time logic. All right. Function start game timer. And here also we will take a copy of the variable we have defined over here, so which is total game time. I will take a copy of it and then assign it to a variable called game time seconds equal to total game time. And then I will also try to get the game timer element out of the css display none to block. So that's also we have done. So we already have the game timer l assigned to a variable. So we will use that game timer l dot style dot display equal to block. And now we will have the game timer l after this. Okay. And then we also need to, so your game will end in, there is no time over here. So that time is actually a span with the class of time. So we can use the same method we used in the preview timer part. So here I will say that game timer message L equal to game timer L, which is basically this one, dot query selector. And then we will look for the span with the class time. Okay, now we have access to the time element of the game timer class. Okay, now we need to set up the interval for it. So I'm going to say, so this game timer, if you notice, we have already initialized over here, right? So game timer, this actually needs to be global because we are going to be clearing it if the if the if the gamer decides to cancel or go back, then we need to clear that particular timer. That's why it needs to be global. So that can happen from outside this particular code block itself. If you define it over here, if you define it as a const over here, what happens is we don't have access to this particular variable outside the function. So to avoid that, I'm going to be reusing the variable we have already declared, right? So inside the game timer, I will use set interval again, which will also follow the same thing, an arrow function, and then which will loop until the condition we are looking at it. Okay, so in this, the logic is gonna be, let's say, the game timer message L dot inner HTML. It's gonna be the game time seconds. And then we will also reduce the game time seconds every second. And same thing, we will check if game time seconds is less than 0, then we need to clear the interval. We need to stop the interval. So for that, we will just use a clear interval, which is a default function, and then the game timer. Okay, so this will go over here. And then we will display a message saying that, okay, you actually failed, it's game over. And then do you want to start the game, start a new game, let's say. Okay, so window dot confirm. So it will ask for a confirmation saying that, okay, do you want to start a new game or not? Right, all current progress will be lost. Do you want to continue? This is the functionality we have designed over here, right? When you click on the restart button. But if the game ends, then you have to show that, okay, game over. Do you want to start a new game? So if that result is true, if he clicks on OK, let's check if it's working for a moment here. Okay, start, and then your game will start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then yeah, okay, that's working. So it should actually show us the pop-up saying that okay, game over, do you want to start a new game? Wait. Okay, so it's actually showing up. So if you click on OK, then the result will be if the result of the content of rest will be true, and then if not, it's gonna be false. So if rest, what we have to do is we have to start a new game. So remember, we created a function for start game. So if we haven't created a function for start game, we would have to write all these codes again, right? That's what. So I'm trying to avoid that. So we modularized all these parts and then we shipped it into a function so that that function can be reused again. So if he wants to start a new game, then we will say that, okay, start game, right? And if not, nothing. You shouldn't do anything else. So that's it. Okay. And oh wait, if the rest is not there, then what we have to do is we have to clear the game because he already lost, right? So he doesn't want to look at it again. So we need to also write a function for clearing the game. No matter what the output is of the confirmation button, we have to clear the game. So we'll create a clear game function, which will look like this function to clear all the variables, function clear game. Okay, and then inside the function console.log, hello, I am here. Okay, start game, and then let's hope this particular part will work. Okay, your game will end in 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so game over. Do you want to start a new game? So if you click on cancel, it should trigger the clear game. Or if you want to start the game, okay, so that's working. And then if you notice, none of these cards, like these cards have been already there and it hasn't been cleared. So we should clear all these cards and then only we can create the new cards. So that logic needs to be handled in the clear game part. Okay, so if we cancel, yeah, so we are getting inside over here. Okay, so let's write the logic for clearing all those part. So I'm gonna be saying that the score element. So if you don't want to continue playing, then when you click on the cancel button, you should actually go back to the home page itself. So if you start the game and then it ends in 10 seconds, right? So if you want to go back to the home page, we only have access to the button element. Other than that, nothing else is there. You notice, 1 second, click on cancel, it will go back to the main page. So here only the button is there. So everything else we need to hide. So score element, we will set the style back to none. And then we will also set the message element style back to none. And then game timer dot style dot display back to none. And then we are going to be setting the inner HTML of the grid to an empty string. So the grid basically has all these cards in it, right? So if you don't clear the grid, then you will have, in here we have 40 cards as of now. So if you start the game again and again, then it will be like increasing it. So we need to clear the grid after every game over. So that is the part which is being handled over here. And then we need to also clear the cards array. So cards array equal to empty, and then the flip cards should also be cleared if it has any old content in it. and then clear interval both of the times. So check match timer and then the clear interval game timer. Okay, both of them should be cleared. So that logic should take care of the clear game part for us. Let's say now the flip card function we need to write. So other than that, everything should be working. So let's check if it's working for the clear part. Okay, 1 second. If you want to start again, okay. So that's only displaying the 21s. Okay, that part is working. And then let's check if the cancel part is working. If the game ends and then we want to cancel the game and then we want to go back to the home screen, then we can check with the cancel button. So cancel, yeah. So it's going back to the start. All right, so we need to write the flip card part. So that is the like one of the hardest functionalities that you need to take care of in here. So flip a card and then function flip card, right? So we are calling this function whenever we are creating the card. We are listening to an event listener saying that okay, if the gamer actually clicks on any of the card, it should actually call the flip card function with the card as the input. So we should take an input as card, right? So we will take the card input and then we will check that if that card element has a class called, so class list contains, so class list has different functions. We check it has add, wait, where is the methods? It's not showing at the methods. Okay, that you can check in mdn docs, mdn class list. So it has certain methods. If you look at it, add, remove, replace, toggle, and same like that, contains is also there. So these are the methods you have in class list. So it's mentioning it, all of it. So we are going to be using contains. So contains is basically checking for if this particular element has a class called flipped in our case, right? So if flip class is there, then we know that that particular card has already been in the back position. So flipped will only come if you look at it. Let's say if you go to the element and then look at this. So if the flipped class is there, which means that it's actually not showing the element, not showing the emoji. If you remove the flip card, it will show the element. So if you put it in flipped, it should go back. Since the confirm message is here, that's why it's not going back. Okay, so we are checking that if card.classes contains flipped, which means that it's in a reverse position, it's not showing the actual emoji in it. And then we will also check if the flipped cards array we have defined over here in the top, right? Flip cards array total length is less than 2. So we are checking for this because at a time you can only flip 2 cards. If it's not there, if it's like you have already created, let's say if you have already clicked on it, you start the game, you have already clicked on it, and if you try to click on another card, it won't allow you to click on it. See, so that click is not triggering. So that's where this particular condition comes in. So at a time only 2 cards can be flipped, that's it. So that particular array needs to be less than 2. Okay, and then we will say that if that's the case, then we will say okay, card dot class list dot remove flipped. So if you remove the flipped class from the card, it will actually show the element which is the emoji in the card. And then we will also push this particular card into the flip cards array, because we need to know that okay, this card is actually showing the value. Okay, and then we will also say that we will also do another check if the flip cards dot length is equal to 2, which means that okay, now you have selected 2 cards. Now we need to check if these 2 cards are of the same content or of different content. So for that, we will create another function called check match timer, and then we will set a timeout of 500 milliseconds. Check match, comma 1000. Okay. So what this does is same thing. Check match timer is also on the top. Okay. So we are assigning that into a set timeout function. So set timeout function will call for another check match function, which will be executing every second. So if you want to reduce the time in between, let's say you have this selection part, right? So if you're going to be selecting a card, and then if you try to click over here, it's actually showing for 1 second. If you want to reduce the time to like let's say half a second, then you can go ahead and do 500 over here, right? So this can be changed according to your liking, but I'm gonna be sticking with 1000 milliseconds, which will be much easier to grasp. Like it's enough time for the user to actually see the card. Okay, and then check match function will actually check for function to check if the cards match. So that function will go through the flip cards array. So in order to do that, since it hits the two cards has been flipped, we need to increase the moves also, because like he basically used one move. Okay. So and then we will also score element. As of now, score element only has a text content of the moves is right. So we will say score element or text content moves equal to dollar moves. So this is what you call a string literal in JavaScript. So if you're not familiar with this particular syntax, then you can refer to the video I will mention in the description. Okay. So basically what it does is it takes the moves and then print it over here, like prefixed by the string moves. Okay. Now you have this core element which is showing the moves, and then we need to check if the contents of flip cards array, if flip cards array of first element dot text content is actually equal to flip cards array of second element dot text content, right? So if it's the same, then we need to do that flip cards of first element dot class list dot add matched, and then the same thing for the second element, right? And then we need to also increase the score because that's a successful match. So score element increased, and then if score equal to shuffled icons dot length by 2. Okay, then we will say that set timeout show final score 500. So this logic is basically if the score is actually equal to the shuffled icons. So the shuffled icons has, let's say in our case it's actually 10 icons, right? So 10 plus 10 is 20. So shuffled icons will have 20 icons. So we're going to be checking if the score is actually equal to the half of shuffled icons, which means he has successfully completed all the matches. If that's the case, then you need to show the final score. That will be calling a function. So we will give a delay of 500 milliseconds to let the user know that okay, you have completed the function. I mean, you have completed the game. Now I will show you the final score for it. Okay. So we need to create this function. We will get to it, and then if this doesn't match, let's say the contents of these two flip cards doesn't match, then we need to flip it back, right? So we will do flipped cards dot for each card. Then we will say card dot class list dot add flipped. So this will take care of the card that's being shown the value back to the flipped position. So this should work now. Let's create a function for show final score, and then we will check the functionality if it's working or not. Okay. So inside our game, we will do start or restart, and then We will do this. Okay, so this is working, and then so the other click is not triggering. We need to figure out why. Okay, do you want to start a new game? So the second click is not triggering. I think it needs to be done with. We are not clearing the flip cards after this. So if flip cards is not cleared, basically what it checks is every time when you click on the flip card function, it's actually checking if the flip card's total length is actually less than two or not. So if you are not clearing the flip cards value, then basically what it means is like in the browser's perspective, there are actually still cards in the flip cards array. So the user is not able to click anymore. So by this fix, it should work. Let's check. Start. And then check. Okay, so now it's working, right? So if that's the case, yeah, then that's working. Okay, so that's being triggered. All right. So now we need to show the final score part. So final score part will actually show the score you have obtained so far if you have successfully completed the check all the matches. So I'm gonna be saying that window.confirm, same thing, congratulations, you have completed the game in how many moves. Then that's it. Then you need to clear the game. So since you have completed it, then once the user accepts any of the step, like let's say he wants to start the game, so we will ask for it, right? So you have completed the game in this much of moves. Do you want to start a new game? So if he clicks on yes, then that will be triggered over here as true. And if that's the case, if else, then we will use start game. Again, we are going to be reusing the start game functionality we have written over here. So yeah, so this part. So we are basically reusing all the functions we have written so far, right? So with that, I think our game is complete. Let's give it a try. So before we give it a try, I don't think I can finish the game in 10 seconds. So let's change it to, let's say, 25 seconds or 30 seconds even. Okay. And then I will start the game, start. And then let me see how much I can remember. Okay, so this, and then this, and this. I think that's it. I'm gone. Okay, so here the timer is running out. Okay, the bird. Okay, so I think I will reduce the array to a little bit easier so we can check the success condition as well. So if you want to reduce the array, let's say if you want to introduce a difficulty level in your game, then this whole array is 10, right? So you can reduce it to, let's say, 3, 4, 5, like as much as you want. So without actually cutting down the icons array, we can use array functions that's being provided by JavaScript. So over here, when you send it to shuffled icons, right, shuffling function, we can say that, okay, shuffle function, then I'm going to say card values dot concat. But when you concat, I want to splice the array. So slice is a function that will take the first position and then the end position. So let's say 0 to, let's take only 3 elements. Okay, and then comma icons dot slice 0 to 3. So what this does is it will take the icons to array, sorry. So what this does is it will take the icons array and then slice from 0 to third element. And then same thing happens for the icons to element, which is 0 to 3. So 0, 1, 2, and 3, 4 elements from each array. So we should have 8 tiles. So if you look at it, let's check. So no, 0, 1, 2, 3. So it will only happen until the 0, 1, 2, 3 is not included. So I think we can figure it out over here. Let's see. Okay, and then yeah. So congratulations, you have completed the game in 5 moves. You should have mentioned moves over here, and then do you want to start a new game? So that success part is also working. So let's include the moves in the string. Okay, and then the next assignment would be, or like next way you can increase the game usability would be introducing a difficulty level over here, saying that okay, easy, medium, and then hard. So based on if the user selects easy, then you can slice the value to, let's say, 4 or 5. And then if the user selects medium, then you can slice the value to maybe 7, and then like decrease the timer, and then you can play around with it. So if you have any doubt about any of the steps I have done in this part, in this series, then just let me know in the comments, then I will reply to you guys. And then I will see you guys back in another application creation video soon. Until then, keep coding. Thank you for watching. And then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.